So today I've got Glo, a very good friend of mine, with me. And we're just going to do some inquiry practices together and just play around with how our heads can get stuck in a particular train of thought and how we can loosen that. So welcome, Glo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so focusing here on our inquiry. We're looking at the physicality, physical existence is more important than anything else, than the non-physical. So as you sit with that, do you know it's true?
Do I know it's real? I mean, do I know it's true? I'd have to say no.
Okay. And when you're believing this physical experience, these physicality, what you perceive through your senses is more important, what happens? How do you act? How do you feel?
It seems like what happens is I get caught up in the things that matter the most about taking care of myself. What I mean by that is like doing the chores, paying the bills, being 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 in that space. And I lose track of I don't know, I think I lose track of that there's more than that. That there's more than that.
So it sounds like you're taking more care of your body and your, I mean, because when you say yourself could be more than your body.
It's like there's a teeter-totter, and on one side is the physical world I'm perceiving, and then the other side is this growing awareness of something else, sort of spirit. And right now it's kind of like the physical attention is very, it pulls me. Um and I feel like sometimes maybe the balance, it's not balanced, or it becomes like too much of a focus.
So when you're focused on this physical world, something in you starts to feel out of balance.
Yes. Something in me starts to yeah, I start to have sensations in my body that are that don't feel good. I've been really trying to develop my somatic practice where when I have a sensation in the body, I just feel it without a story.
Yeah.
But for the benefit of this conversation, I'll label it as energy that feels like it has an intensity that is not as light and uplifting as what I've known to experience in life sometimes.
So you feel less light, less uplifted when you're focusing primarily on physicality.
Yeah, and I think a certain amount of fear does. I don't have a lot of fear that I'm aware of these days, but this sort of like, what if? what if starts to come in, and then like, there a certain level of like fear starts surfacing in me, like, and then I start to feel like I need to control it or be a part of the world or do something to make it different. And um that feels like a stressful place to be. So I notice when I'm believing this thought, sometimes I start to stress out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I mean by the energy in my body that I'm feeling. It feels like, for lack of better words, stress.
Yes.
And I don't want to live in a world where I'm stressed. I want to um, feel in balance with source and partnering with source and in flow in the loving embrace of the ultimate beloved. But it's not quite there for me when I'm believing this.
Right.
And I've never, up until recently, I didn't even consider this kind of thing as being something, but I see how it's also a belief. And I think that the stress, noticing the type of energy coming from the belief, it inspired me to want to do the work on it.
Hmm.
So when I'm believing this thought that I am real, or that, the physical world, that this is who I am, um, yeah, I start to feel lonely. I start to feel like I don't want to go outside. Like all the things that I would normally do to connect to source, let's call it, I start to seclude. I start to get more in my head. I start to want to understand things, a lot of whys, and like I said, some of these what ifs start coming up that are lean on the more energetically stressful side.
Great. That's a lot of clarity.
Good to hear that, because to me, from where I sit, yeah, there is some clarity, but there's also this like, what's this about? Like what is really kind of, what is this about?
Yeah. But just to really get that focusing on the physical doesn't end up benefiting the physical. You end up feeling more stressed, more at risk, more disconnected, more limited in connecting. It's like your resources are depleted
Yes.
somehow when you're focusing on the physical. Which
Yeah.
sometimes, you think focusing on the physical, you're going to feel like you have more resources, but you end up feeling like you have less.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Losing track of the partnership of source is what happens when I'm believing this thought. And the other thing I just realized when I'm believing this thought that happens is I start to feel, let's see, how do I put this? I have to really go inside to really feel the energy of it. So give me a minute. I start to have deep self-doubt that there is something else as well. So it's
Mhm.
not only do I feel connected from it, then I start to go into, um, well, am I just believing in a bunch of hooey? I mean, like, what is all this? And have I just convinced, and that can be very destabilizing. And once again, can be kind of stressful. So that's what happens when I believe this thought that I am real, or that my realness in this reality, in this physical perceived reality, is more real or more important than my connection to um like the non-seen realm, or however you want to say it, the heartfelt realm, the energetic realm, the spiritual realm, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
And that doubt, when it turns to self doubt, then it kind of destabilizes my whole kind of like feeling of myself. Like, and I've noticed that the less, whenever I'm have like mean things I'm saying to myself, or I notice I'm not loving myself or something, I notice that the celebration of life gets way diminished. And so I know at the very minimum I need to keep loving myself and be understanding with myself. But sometimes that little voice comes in, like, you're believing all this hooey and you're convincing yourself that God's on your side and it's all going to happen, and just be open and aware. And then at the same time, there's that voice that's like, you got to go do something about your situation, man. You got to go do some action. Like, and so there's this action beyond the flow that starts to want to be. And I kind of see that as like a form of like control, or trying to control, or direct or something. And I don't think that that is peaceful. So it ultimately, once again, when I'm believing this thought, I'm less peaceful, more stressed, have more self-doubt than when I imagine if it would be if I didn't have the thought. But I
Right.
have yet to imagine that. So I'm so ready. I purposely did
Great.
not go there till we could have this time together, because I thought, I just, I don't know, it was just an artistic moment of like, I'm waiting. I'm not gonna explore until I'm one-on-one with my friend Lisa. So here I am.
Great. Okay. So you don't have the thought that physicality is primary at all. That thought is gone, totally not in your realm.
What arises in me is this incredible joy that all of this, the physical and all of it, is just a gift. And I am lucky enough to be on the magic carpet ride of experiencing it. And that, I have thoughts, and like, I don't even know how my heart beats. So how can I control it or be a part of it? It's like I just need to surrender to it, because it infinitely made me. And I don't even know how I work. So there's something like incredible here. And I also noticed that I feel like my heart's more open. I feel more like I want to be a part of the world, like I want to experience things. I feel more like I can see colors better. Like I can just notice that when I'm allow myself to bring more openness to that belief that I am real. I notice that I don't know, so much more hope arises in me, and so much more like just desire to be alive arises in me. So I noticed I could see, that there's something there that's just feels right. It feels right. Um it just opens me. And then this like poetic kind of side of me just feels like it's available and present. And I don't know. Just by not believing I'm real, by not believing this physicality is the only thing, is the primary important thing. Um, I just feel better. I feel less stressed. Just
Yes.
simple as that. That's what I'm noticing. And I think that's what I'm seeing. There's a bit of like fear or a little bit of instability in trying to ponder this thought that's kind of trying to creep in. But I'm like, for the sake of the work, I'm just staying with a who would I be without the belief that I am real. And I don't know why that makes me feel really excited about life. I don't know. I don't understand, but it does. It does.
It makes you more creative, more in awe, more connected, more light, more
Yeah.
interested, more engaged.
Yeah. The desires to do all that seem to arise in me, you know. I feel more strongly the energy of the now, of the present moment. I feel more in love with experiencing that. And I feel a lot less in my head.
Yeah. You look like you're more plugged in to the fount of life.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this mindset and this body and sensation is what I've kind of been desiring, which is to thrive, to feel like I'm thriving. And when I don't believe this thought, or when I entertain what it would be like to not have this thought that I am real, or that reality takes primacy over everything else, I'm I'm just here. I'm just here.
Right. Um, I it could come to the fact that we actually arrive that the non-physical is more real. So I'm hesitating to call the physical the real, because that kind of already sets the end where we can arrive. It's already saying the physical. So if we can just keep calling it the physical, I think that gives a space for.
Okay. I'll try. I'll keep
Okay,
trying.
it's not a requirement, just an
I,
observation.
but I like where you're pointing, which is, it sounds like what you're pointing to is an open place where there's no definition yet. There's more of an open consideration rather than a labeling or something like that,
Right.
Um,
The physical, we know what that is. The real, I don't know. That might
gotcha.
be a development.
Okay. Well, I think part of this though is me trying to understand my relationship to that word,
Yeah.
um, and how. Uh, but I do want what you're talking about, and I'm with you. I'm with you because it's really my perceptions of what I'm seeing that I give primacy to. What I'm feeling, like what I'm perceiving in the world, and what, like, that has a this has more, the thoughts are about this is more important than whatever that is, if that even exists. So um I see where you're going. Yeah, totally.
Good. So you feel more alive when you are not making the physical primary.
I think yeah, there's a part of my mind that's really wrestling with understanding this right now. I think this concept's like very um hard to define, even the thought, like what is real and what is the physical reality. And so I'm trying to ground myself in that, as you are helping me ground myself in that, to see um when I make this more important, when I don't make this more important. Well, I'd have to say more when I give the other side equal weight, when I celebrate both sides. Then I'm definitely happier. you
Yeah.
know I see this side as Okay, I'm gonna talk in a weird way, but I see this side as a gift, the physicality as this is a gift. And I am entrusted to take care of this. Um, but when this starts becoming, when this, for some reason, this starts to becoming something that's overrides the other or forgets the other or doesn't have that balancing, like I said earlier with the teeter totter, it isn't balanced. Um, yeah, like I said, stressful things happen. So without that, with let's say with that balance, I noticed like, yeah, just a lot more um um appreciation for being, you know?
Yes.
And I'm always trying to like increase or not increase, but be with that feeling. Um because for me in that feeling there's like peace, there's gentleness, there's um love. And maybe that's the way that I access those feelings, in me. So, um, for me, I feel like who would I be without the thought that it's more important? I would be better off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem to access more aspects of yourself.
Yeah. And definitely aspects that I'm more attracted to than other
Good.
aspects. And I notice less stress, which I've been doing a lot of study lately about the body and health. And I pretty much am convinced that it's really stress that is what's causing everything, and mindset's very important. And no matter what the future holds in the physical, the best thing possible in all cases is to love yourself enough to be with yourself when you're in stress and to try to, um, understand it and um, try to love it. Try to soothe it in not a like get out of here stress kind of way, but more in a like I'm human and I do have a body and I do have a world but there's also this place of peace inside me and I want to honor that. And um staying connected to that is very, very important. So, really if we just moved into the turnaround, it would be like it's not more important. It's as important. If I went into the I mean, it has to be at least equal. But if I went into the full turnaround, is that this physicality is not more important. Let me sit with that for a minute and consider that. Oh, it seems super true. It's not more important. In other words, I really feel strongly that there needs to be at least a balance, you know. Um, and maybe that's what life's about, finding that balance, between allowing that which we do perceive with that which we can't and finding, I don't know, a place of peace with that, the known and the unknown, you know. And there's a part of me that really longs to look at this thought like, well, what if the non-real is more important? Because that it feels like a turnaround as well. Does
Hmm.
that feel like a turnaround to you too?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'd like to contemplate that for a second. Um, you know, it's quite possible. It's quite possible. I mean, how would I ever make that determination? It's quite possible. I don't know if it's true, but it's definitely could be true.
Well, you certainly
That
see that the physical needs the non-physical to be in a state of health, because otherwise
uh,
it's in.
physical needs the non-physical to be in a state of health. Um, well, yeah. I mean, I need the air that's all around me that I did not create for sure. Otherwise, I would just keel over. So yeah, my body needs that for sure more than it needs. Yeah, it needs that. I consider that like spirit, but you know.
Right. So for sure, the physical needs your acknowledgement of something more than just the physical.
I'm having a hard time in saying yes to that.
Okay, that's no problem. The physical gets stressed when you forget about the non-physical.
Yes, yes,
Okay, the physical
yes,
gets stressed when you forget about the non-physical.
yes, yes. That's what I've been seeing through doing this work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just interesting since you had gone to, could the non-physical even have some amount of greater importance? Would the non-physical get stressed if the physical disappeared?
Oh, great question. When I look deeply at that question, I think I hear myself saying that that's God's business. Uh, but I see what you're saying. Would you mind repeating that question again?
Well, you just kind of said that the non-physical would have to handle it. Like it would be its own business. It isn't the physical's business to take care of the non-physical.
I don't think the physical could.
Huh.
I don't think it, for some reason, I don't think it could. It's almost like it's, wow, this is pretty existential thoughts. The non-physical is so grateful for the physical.
Mhm.
For some reason, the non-physical like just celebrates the physical.
Yeah.
But I think the non-physical could exist without the physical, but the physical could not exist without the non-physical.
Uh-huh.
So that proves, using that my little math equation, that the non-physical is actually more important. Well, that's a weird word to use, but
Right.
it's more like it's the set that contains the subset. Once
Right.
again, mathematical terms.
It's more foundational.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Oddly enough, yes. I feel like I say oddly enough because I think I've not realized that fully like this now. And that's making the original thought seem um only partially true, right?
Right.
It's not that I am real I am both.
Yes.
But if I'm non-real, I'm not real, but I am still real, like still
Right.
existing. Right.
Yes.
So to use the word, I see what you mean now, but to use the word real, like I am real, meaning reading what I see is taking that word and actually making it too small.
Yes.
And that to say I am real is always true and not true. And um that's important.
Yeah.
That's important. Yeah.
Do you have any more um, ways that you see how the physical is more dependent on the non-physical and the non-physical is not as dependent on the physical?
Wow. Well, I've spent a lot of time lately thinking about my life, obviously. And I have seen how kind of everything that's ever happened to me has kind of been a happening or a gift. I like to say gift, but like a happening. And um, that all of that has um, given me, it has taken care of me, let's just say. It has taken care of me. Um, so it feels like the physical is reflecting the gifts. And it's only me trying to like make sense of it or think I control it or own it or something like that. That's putting the story on it that somehow it's my doing. Um, because when I really can get as clear as I can get, it's like I didn't I didn't create myself. I didn't give myself my original animation job. It was like total out there left field thing. I didn't There's just so many things that I know I didn't do and they're just happening. So it's like the unrealized part of me or the bigger reality part of me is like providing. So to say it's not that the physical okay, it's not that the physical part is needing the other part. It's more like the only reason it exists is because of the other part.
Yes.
So I've never thought about this before because I've done a lot of thinking about projections, like as we humans do. But I've never thought about the fact that the wider self of me or the non-real self of me, or not real, but the non-physical. Thank you. The non-physical self of me is is that my what I'm seeing here is a projection of that self.
Mhm.
Like it's projecting this reality. And I am experiencing it from being in it. And I'm also experiencing kind of the gifting energy or something like that.
So
Does any of
beautiful.
that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, you've just listed how this unnameable has actually been the source of everything key in your life.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. 100%. I've done deep dives on that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I get the sense from you, because you asked two-part question. I get the sense from the side of the non-physical. I get the sense that celebrates this physical projection, but if it ended, it's so full of aliveness and life that it just goes on. Like it doesn't mourn or it just let's just do it again. Let's try it this way. It's like just a free loving energy of like creation, you know?
Yeah.
So so I don't think when you said does it is it dependent on, it is dependent in some way on the physical because that's how it's experiencing itself on this plane in this dimension, and it celebrates that because this is a wonderful creation, but it also just has like a plethora of stuff going on that's just incredible. So
Right.
it celebrates it all, and I truly it from that perspective, yeah, it's 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 just alive and flowing. It doesn't have a definiteness like um reality or who we are when we as we age or watching people. It's more like um I don't know, it just feels like a bliss. I don't know, this is going to sound really weird, but it's like it's trying to project its its allness, but the physical realm can't contain that allness by definition. So there's this, I don't know, dance going on or something like that.
Right. Right. There's a biggerness. It loves its physical treasures, but it's bigger. And if these particular physical treasures ended, because they are kind of fragile, it could come up with more. It's not dependent on having these particular physical treasures.
Right. And I guess I'm need to keep remembering that I am it as well. Because the more identified with the creation, which is the whole work we're doing, I start to feel stressed, not realizing I am also the non-physical, uh, or not that I am the non-physical. It's that when I partner with the non-physical, I feel more alive, more free, more everything, more of it, more of what I imagine it to be. So that's important to see that um, that I am that as well. I am the creation, and I am the higher self projecting the creation. It seems like I need to continue to develop my relationship with that higher self.
Can you,
Not
with
as a
any, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, not as a way to diminish the physical creation of me, but as a way to become in partnership with it more and feel less fear that I'm not being taken care of. I'm not, what if I don't have what I need? What if I don't get a job? It's like those are the burdens and the worries of the physical. But I too am that, and the part of me that's providing all this wonderful experience throughout life. And it's good to align with knowing that you are that too, or you have awareness of that too. I think that's what's coming out of this.
Yeah. Can you, with any certainty, say, I am creative?
I am creative. Yes. I feel like I am. I
And
do.
if you were only physical, do you think you would be as creative?
Um, uh, no. No. I don't know.
So that means you have to be the non-physical. The non-physical can't only be out there because you are creative. So you have to be the non-physical too.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I mean, the I the I-ness of this all is under debate as well. But
Yes.
but for sake of having an I, yes. When I am exhibiting creativity, creative moments, when I really am not the physical. Yeah. I am um sometimes celebrating the physical or manipulating the physical, but not in the best possible ways, like not manipulate, but more like
Influencing, impacting.
right, but not in a controlling way, more like in a loving, like the intention's so pure that it just you know it becomes beauty or something, and then it just is. And then I've been lucky enough to have many moments like that in my life, and to have connection to how to create or to be witness to more moments like that.
Yes.
But I never really considered that that was my non-physical self um, doing that. I never saw it that way. I never really like identified it enough to like define it like that. I never really like thought, what am I doing when I'm being creative? But I see that that is like being my higher self in those moments. And it does feel so good to connect to that. Yeah. And it makes the physical that much more celebrated. Yeah, absolutely. Cuz then you're like, well, without like a face, I couldn't even talk. So thank you. You know what I mean? Like, thank you that I even have the ability at all to do any of this. Like, whoa. And I didn't do it, or I don't remember doing it. The master big I did it, and I am that too. What I'm discovering, I might be a small part of it, or I'm starting to have a relationship with it. But um, yeah.
What about other capacities? What other capacities would you say they demonstrate that you extend beyond the physical?
Oh, well, when I sleep,
Hmm.
I have been doing a lot. Like, this is kind of almost where interesting this conversation is going this direction, because this whole desire to sort of work this thought sort of has been coming up because I've been paying way more attention to my dream land,
Hmm.
um, and the energy I feel when I wake up, and being with that energy as it is, like not trying to manipulate it or change it. And thoughts have arisen in me a lot, like I think I go to the same place every night. And the reason I say that is because the when I now that I've started to tune into the energy of it, it feels so familiar. And every night when I look at that energy or feel the energy, or in the morning, it feels like that same familiarity now that I'm paying attention to it. So it almost feels like I am existing somewhere else. And I have these little stories that happen, these little things. Like, I saw my mom a couple times this week, and hey, mom. And I saw like little things are happening, and they seem to have real value. Like, and that's not happening in the physical. I think if I put a camera on my body, it would still be sleeping in the bed. So there definitely is something else there, you know. So that would be another way I would say that it kind of validates that I'm also more than just the physical,
Mhm.
you know. Um,
What about appreciation of beauty or appreciation
um,
of challenges?
appreciation of beauty. I have been gifted with the ability to see something beautiful and really feel it. Um, like a beautiful, like I can go out in nature and I can just really feel the magnificence of it, you know, or look at the sun. Sunsets are great for that. You know, you're just like, whoa. And I'm perceiving this and it's beautiful and I didn't create it and it's like magic and it happens every day and like wow, like and it really helps me take a moment to be present, you know, and really celebrate like I have no idea what's going on here, but I do know that that is exquisite and I've even contemplated like why are those colors when I look at that do I feel this way? And I thought I don't know, it's just like built into me that it's not a story. It's not a story, it's an experience of beauty. And so I have definitely been given the gift to perceive that. And sometimes I see it in flowers and sometimes I see it in simple things, simple
Mhm.
things. And it does make me feel so connected to a, you know, higher source. But it's been, I don't know if I've ever really deeply until this work considered that somehow that is me, that I am that as well. It's always felt like, and I think I think I'm it's like there's a place in me that there's the old belief and the new beliefs are like going like this right now and it's like I'm in the full on like oh I am that oh like and then it goes oh but aren't you just looking at it, but then I'm like but then I'm feeling it. What is the feeling? The feeling isn't physical. I mean but it's in the body, but it's something's going on that's creating this energy that's then non-physical, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right. It's like resonance. It's like hitting a tuning fork and something over here starts vibrating because it is in the same note. Well, you are in the same note.
And how could I be in the same note if I wasn't it as well? Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. It is such a beautiful thought to think that when I look at a sunset, that I am the sunset as well as the perceiving of it. That is like such a wonderful thing to contemplate. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Wow. Definitely feel like something's opening in me. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to anchor that in any way so you can keep coming back as a contemplation to this? Like notice where you're feeling it in your body or give it a phrase or an image.
Well, yeah, the image is this I see in my I see so clearly this beautiful sunset. I'm fortunate enough where I live we kind of are looking down on the valley a little bit. It's not really a view, but there's like this, when sun goes down, the way that the sky is, it's kind of like, it's not like we're at the beach or anything, but it's kind of like I get a view of the majesty of it, you know. And I have been trying to get outside to see it more often, and in this moment I see it, and I am allowing myself to feel that I am it too.
Yeah.
And it feels big and beautiful and infinitely gentle.
Mhm. That's so beautiful. And you are big and beautiful and gentle.
It definitely gives me access to even contemplate what that feels like. And that feels very special. Feels very to have that access is very I'm very grateful. Very
Mhm.
grateful. You know, it's almost like the physical, the opposite of the physical is the perception itself.
Uh-huh, right. Yeah, I like that.
And the perception itself is this non physical we're speaking of. And I think I've been considering the perception the physical, but it's not.
Uh-huh.
So, wow, that feels like a lot more space in my being to understand a little closer like what my body is to me. Like it's a massive gift for sure, but it's also just a one manifestation of what I actually am. It's like I am the perceiver, or I am the perceiver. I mean, I think some people use the word observer, but perceiver feels more celebratory.
Yeah. Yes. There's still some participation, or even I am the perceiving.
Yeah, I am perceiving, or I am the perceiving. Is that what you said?
Uh-huh.
I am the perceiving. Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. Without the perceiving, there would be no real or no physical reality. So the perceiving is mandatory.
Absolutely.
The creativity is mandatory. The yeah, would just all stop without that stuff. But it's not happening. I think the key here is not it's not happening independent of me.
Mhm.
It's like I am that too.
Yes.
I just happen to be that physical. I happen to be physical and perceiving in this moment.
Yes.
And what a celebration that should be, that you know, because
Right.
I'm more than just this or that. I'm this and that.
Right.
Wow.
And that's where harmony seems to flow from.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. That partnership,
Yeah.
that, like I said, that balance of being, the
Yeah.
balance of being. Yeah. I mean, you could get so wrapped up in, I see how important the balance is because, well, as long as I'm still alive, the balance without the body awareness, you could stop taking care of it.
Right.
And that wouldn't be so great. It needs
No.
to eat sometimes, and it needs to be bathed sometimes. It needs to be um, put out in the sun sometimes, you know?
Right.
So you don't want to lose track of it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and it is, yeah, it is actually the infinite perceiver, the body. It's like a ridiculously high level biofeedback machine of some
Right.
kind. You know, so in and of itself is the technology by which we're perceiving. So once again, thank God for the technology, right?
Right. Absolutely.
I have somebody that I like his message, and he likes to call it Gaia Tech.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, Gaia Tech. Oh wow, that's cool.
I have an image that I sometimes use for my left brain, the very, very logical part. So air seems less substantial and water easily flows through air. You know, it just passes right through water. And solid seems even more substantial and it just passes right through water. If you take solid, it can pass right through water and it seems more substantial. Spirit can pass right through solid.
That's true.
So that means spirit must be the most substantial.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I never thought about that before. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
coming
This
on
is
this
just
magic carpet ride with me. Thank
this
you
is
so much.
beautiful.
Yeah, really fun. And I can't think of a better partner in crime to
Yes.
experience this wonderful work with. So thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Glo. I'm going to end the recording.
Okay.